All right, so I will go ahead and do a couple more problems on function transformations. So what you can do right now is pause the video, maybe write the thing on the left if you haven't written it down. We went over this in class, so I won't really reteach this. I'm just going to go ahead and do problems so that we can go ahead and kind of understand a little bit of what function transformations are. So if you want to pause the video right now and copy this down and really read through what everything means, then you can go ahead and do that. But I will go ahead and start off with the problem. So I want to go ahead and graph or sketch this type of function. So let's say, I don't know, let's try to do something no, let's not do square. We did a lot of squares. Let's go ahead and do, whoops, what did I do? Let's do this. Let's do absolute value of x minus 3 plus 2. So let's start off something like that. So the first thing to identify is what my parent function is, right? So if I go ahead and look at the sheet that I handed out, we know that an absolute value, right? An absolute value function, right? If I go ahead and graph it, and this is something that we did, it's going to look very V-shaped, okay? So when x equals 0, right, the absolute value of x of 0 is just 0, right? Absolute value of 1 is just 1. Absolute value of negative 1 is just 1. So you can go ahead and plug in some random points to get some sort of values. After that, I'm going to use these 3 points to help me transform my entire function. So some of the things that I look for is that I have this negative 3, and this negative 3 basically looks a lot like this. So this means that I'm going to shift the graph to the right C unit. So this is always going the opposite way. So this is going to say shift 3 units to the right. Okay. And this positive 2, what this is telling me, looks a lot like this one. This one says shift the graph up C units, so I'm going to shift 2 units up. Okay, so let me go ahead and just start graphing this. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new graph. So I have this, my parent function in the very beginning looks something like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna first start from the inside out. So I always kind of want to start like this. So I want to start out from the very beginning, right, in the inside. Then if I have to multiply anything over here, and then start and at the shifting part. So the first thing says, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shift this problem 3 units to the right. So I'm gonna first go ahead and shift everything 3 units to the right. So right now I'm at 0, 0. I'm gonna shift it 1, 2, 3 units to the right. So this was at 2, this was at 3, right? So this is where my new point is at. So my origin just shifted from 0 all the way to 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here, right? Now this one's going to be at 4, right? Then the last one, I'm going to shift it 3 units, and now this one's going to be at 2. So notice that the graph itself didn't really do anything other than just shift. It didn't stretch. Nothing really happened in that sense. Okay. Now the last thing that I got to do, because now I did this, I shifted it. The next thing I want to go ahead and do is I want to go ahead and shift it 2 units up. Okay, I want to go ahead and do that. So now, right now I'm at 3, 0. I'm gonna go ahead and put it up 2 units. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put this up 2 units too. So now this is gonna be at 3. Okay, I hope I did this right. Yes, I did. Okay. All right, so now this is my final graph, because this blue graph, I'm gonna write final. This is my true graph. This one is going to this final graph, I was able to shift it 3 units over and then 2 units up. So this is the last graph. This is what I'm looking for. Now for the exam, you don't need to do everything all in one particular graph. You can draw me 3 different graphs, right? So have your original parent function, then it being shifted up 3 units, and then I'm sorry, shifted to the right 3 units, and then the last one shifted up 2 units. So you can have 3 different graphs if it's going to be really messy. If you have colored pencils, you can go ahead and do that too. So that's one of the problems. Okay, so now we're going to do another more complicated problem, but not really. So let's see if we can do this one. Okay, so this one is a little bit more involved. The first thing that I notice is that I have a square in this function. Whoops. So I notice that I have a square. So this tells me that I'm going to have a parabola. I'm going to go ahead and plug in some random points for the parabola for x squared. That's my parent function. I know that when it's 1, I get a 1. When it's -1, I also get a 1. I can plug in more points if I want. With 2, I'm going to get a 4, right? So this is no longer kind of linear. This is now going to be a little bit more curving up, right? It's a happy face, okay? So this is our model. This is what we're going to work with. Okay, so some of the things that I notice, I have a -1. This -1 means that I'm going to shift it where? Well, this is the same thing as last time, right? So this is going to be to the right. Shift right, 1 unit. Okay, now something else that I see is that I have a -2. This 2 means that I'm going to multiply all the y values, right, by a, in this case 2. So I'm going to multiply y values by 2. And in class, we said that whenever there was a negative, there was a reflection across the x-axis. So that's something that we're going to go ahead and do. Now this last thing, this purple one, this is, I'm going to go ahead and shift up 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this out. So I will start off with my parent function. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and shift it 1 unit up. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and shift the 0 is now going to go up. Oh, I'm sorry, to the right 1. So I'm going to shift it to the right 1. So this is no longer there. This one's going to be here. Okay. Before, this one was at -1, 1. I'm going to shift it over. Now this one's going to be right here. And then the other one's going to be right here. So 1, 2. Okay, so right after this, it's me shifting it. Oh, maybe I should have used the other color. This is shift right 1 unit. Okay, so this is what I put for the red. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and do the green part. Okay, because this is how I'm gonna go ahead and do this problem. So now I'm gonna do the green part. The green part tells me y values by 2. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and multiply all my y values by 2. So -2. Okay, so this y value, this one right here, this y value is associated with 0. 0 times -2 isn't really going to do anything. That one's just going to stay there. Okay, then what is the y value associated here? So my y value in here is 1. So 1 times -2, now that one's going to be down here now. Now this is going to be down at -2. So at 2, originally it was right here. Now when I multiply this one by -2, is now going to be down here. Okay, now same thing goes with this one. It was at -2, so I'm sorry, it was at 1. I'm going to multiply it by -2 and it's going to go down here. Okay, and that's what it's going to look like. Okay, all right, so now we're almost done. What happened is we shifted it and it got stretched by 2. Now the last thing that I'm going to do is shift it up by 2 units. So now my next graph, I'm going to go ahead and shift it up by 2 units. So right now it's at 0, 0. I'm sorry, I don't even know what, it's too early. It's at 1, 0. I'm going to go ahead and shift it up 2 units. Okay, this one I'm going to go ahead and shift it up 2 units. So that one's now going to be at 0, 0. Now this one's going to be shifted up 2 units, and this one's now going to be at here. And this is going to be my final graph. There you go. Okay, so that's basically how you do it. I hope this kind of helped a little bit more. Just remember the rules. Make sure that you really know what all these rules really mean. And then make up your own too, so that you can go ahead and shift it. Remember that you can always look it up in decimals to make sure that you did it right. And yeah, that is it.